Well, today is the 21st of June. It is the summer solstice, longest day of the year. After today, the days get shorter, which really kind of sucks. I'll try to make this short and sweet. I was thinking about something today. Actually, it's been in my mind for a couple days because I came across an article and I read something about this. So we have a segment of the government basically is telling us to trust the science, right? So we're supposed to trust the science. We've got two things to trust the science in. Number one has to do with, the overall weather. I don't even want to say the word because the algorithm picks up on this. Trust the science. And then the other thing has to do with, surgical procedures, where you trust the science, right? Well, back in the 60s and 70s, the politicians and the environmentalists and the scientists got together, and they had this great idea. Hey, let's create some artificial reefs out of used tires. We'll bolt them all together and cable them up in big, gigantic groups, and we'll drop them off the coast of Florida, and coral will grow on them, and it's good for the environment. Oh, and they all jumped on this bandwagon, let me tell you. I remember this. You can look this information up. They literally took millions and millions of tires, bundled them up, and strapped them together. The scientists never thinking for 5 minutes that, steel, iron, ferrous materials rust in salt water. I wonder what's going to happen. Never once thinking, what happens when we have hurricanes? So let me tell you what happened. So they put all this stuff in the water, and it didn't take long. It rusted through. One big storm comes, busts up these things, and throws it on the beach. And to this day, used tires are still coming up. And these things did more damage than if you left everything alone. They broke free. They literally rolled over all, existing coral reefs, destroyed the environment. Just what a freaking nightmare. They tried to clean it up. They couldn't. And then to make it even better, there are chemicals and stuff within tires that leached into the water and didn't help things. So trust the science, right? These were scientists and environmentalists, and they were all behind it. And politicians got behind it, and they photo ops, and we're saving the world, because that's what they were doing with the freaking hippie movement back in the 60s and 70s. So the other thing has to do with something called lobotomies, okay? And back in the day, lobotomies were used for for what was called epilepsy. This is where they severed the connection between the two frontal lobes of your brain so they can't communicate each other, so there's no misfiring going on. And now it's called seizure disorder. So when you have a seizure disorder, what's happening is your body's your electrical impulses in your brain are misfiring between two different segments of the brain or more, and it's causing the body to go into convulsions or it's misfiring synapses, whatever you want to call it, but your body doesn't work properly. It's like your cylinders in your car are misfiring and the car doesn't run right. Well, if you want to fix that, you just cut that communication, those nerves that connecting nerve tissue in those two frontal lobes, and boy, oh boy, you solve those seizure problems. Well, the other thing you do is you lobotomize the person and they become a zombie. You solved your issue, you create another. Now, why do I bring this up is because they did this to JFK's sister. He had a sister that got lobotomized. And in case you didn't know, this was the science at the time, and it was the professionals at the time, and it was the medical doctors at the time that all said, oh, this is great. This will solve the problem. Oh, yeah, it solved the problem. Just put the person in diapers for the rest of their life. So this was the science. So do you see where I'm going with it? Trust the science. Trust the science. Trust the medical community. Trust all of them. Trust the environmentalists. Trust the climate scientists. Trust the politicians. Yeah, trust the science. Now, what does that relate to today? Well, it's pretty obvious, right? Regarding, they want human beings to revert to earthworms at this point. because earthworms have no gender; they're hermaphroditic. And what do we do with earthworms? We put them on the end of a hook. I mean, this isn't trust the science. I'll just let your imagination go, see what you can find out, and come up with in your own research and things. I trust the science about as much as I'm at the point now where I question the landing of the moon. I question if we even have a heliocentric universe or solar system. I'm questioning whether we even have a round Earth. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, right? But at this point, as I'm looking into various things and looking, I don't trust any of these jokers anymore. None of them. Because there are things in this world that exist that they say doesn't exist. And they'll laugh at you. Yeah, I don't trust any of them anymore. So just go back and look at trust. Now, I'm going to tell you something. 1970s and 1960s wasn't that far. Wasn't long ago. Wasn't that far in the past. So if you're trusting the science, man, trust the science. And don't get me going on that. There was a drug that they were using for morning sickness for women that turned all the kids into that where they developed with no limbs. That was trusting the science and the doctors too, right? Trust the doctors. Trust the science. Well, that's all I got to say about that. Until next time.